What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? Nathan and Alan here. We are your Heel Brothers, and it is week 2, and the North Carolina Tar Heels are heading down to take on the Charlotte 49ers. Last week was not a very pretty week for North Carolina as TCU came to town, rolled out of here with a 48-14 win on Labor Day night. We were on the live watch party with you guys. It was a fun time hanging out with you guys, but watching the game was a little sad. Just to say the least. Just a wee smidge.
Hey man, the first like offensive drive and first defensive drive, that was fantastic. We was eating frogs.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a heck of a good time, man. And then everything else happened after, but that's okay. It's a brand new week. Not really, because we played Monday and we got the game on Saturday. But hey, it's okay. We're gonna watch it, and we're gonna get right in here to this game. This looks like it's going to be a very interesting game. Looking forward to seeing how this game plays. So now let's break this thing down. On 7 p.m. Saturday night, ESPN Plus in Jerry Richardson Stadium, Bill Belichick is going to take his North Carolina Tar Heels down to the 49ers playpen right here. The Charlotte 49ers. Both teams are coming in 0-1 on the season coming into this game. North Carolina opens up with a matchup predictor via ESPN with a 69.9% chance of victory. They open up as a 13.5-point favorite. UNC leads this head-to-head 1-0, last year being the first game played against these two programs as North Carolina was able to win that game 38-20. Was at that game. It was actually a very interesting game. A lot of drama in that game, especially with us quarterback-wise after Max Johnson got hurt and everything. And got to meet the 49er faithful over there for the first time, which was these people are rabid over there, man. They are crazy. They're crazy, but they're cool people. Charlotte is coming in with a brand new head coach this season with Tim Albin. He is the former head coach over at Ohio. He's been at a few different places, most recently Ohio University. This is his first season with the Charlotte 49ers. Overall, in his coaching career, he is 58-28. Pretty good record for Tim Albin over there. And even though he's never coached at the Power 4 level, still 58-28. That's a pretty daggone record, no matter what level you're coming from. He hired a brand new staff, brand new offensive coordinator, brand new defensive coordinator and co-defensive coordinator. He brought in offensive coordinator Todd Fitch and defensive coordinator Nate Fans with co-defensive coordinator Kurt Maddox. Bringing in some new schemes, bringing in some new looks for this team, and also bringing in 40 brand new players, most notably Connor Harrell out of the transfer portal coming from right here at North Carolina. North Carolina is actually coming into this game with 7 former Tar Heels on their squad. Quarterback Connor Harrell, defensive back and former North Carolina Tar Heel Jaquarius Conley, JQ Conley, who was unfortunately his eligibility was taken away from him last minute before the season started last year. Was not able to play against his former team and his former coach in Mac Brown. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to play against Mac Brown, but he does get to play against his former team this year. Defensive end, and somebody, if you've watched us on this channel, you've heard me talk about Curtis Simpson. You've heard me mistaken Andrew Simpson, the linebacker for North Carolina, the one who came over from Boise, with this player, defensive end Curtis Simpson. He is a former Tar Heel, and he left this past season into the transfer portal and went over to Charlotte. Also, wide receiver Justin Olson, another former Tar Heel there. Kicker Liam Boyd, running back Jeriel Cobb, and tight end Jake Young. So some familiar players for North Carolina on this Charlotte 49ers team. Last game, and the stat leaders, since we're only one game, we can combine the stat leaders with the last game stats. So stat leader is with the passing, 142 yards for Connor Harrell, the quarterback. He had a touchdown and an interception. He is a 6'2", they've listed him at. It's a very generous 6'2", to say the least. When he played for us last year, I was thinking more along the lines of 6 foot, maybe. 210 pounds, He went 13 of 24 in that game. Rushing leader is 49 yards with C.J. Stokes being the ball carrier. He did that on 15 carries against Appalachian State. He is 5'10", 200 pounds. Receiving leader, 56 yards for Justin Olson, 2 receptions. He is 6'3", 210 pounds. They had one person get a sack, and he is your sack leader, Macyo Williams, defensive lineman, who is 6'1", 280 pounds. Tackle leader and credited with 9 total tackles on the night, Caden Schmitz, the linebacker, 6'1", 235 pounds. Last game was a loss for the Charlotte 49ers as they faced off in the Dukes Mayo Classic in Bank of America Stadium against the Appalachian State Mountaineers. It was a 34-11 loss there for them. It was a really back and forth game there in the first half. A couple of really cool plays, especially one by Jacarius Conley, a forced fumble in the end zone as the wide receiver caught an amazing catch, and he was able to come from behind, poke that ball loose, get the forced fumble, and give the offense another chance. The 49ers team looked fairly similar to what we saw North Carolina look like on Monday night. But in that game, they did allow 404 yards passing in the game with 182 yards rushing, and they did have 1 interception. Interesting game and interesting team in the Charlotte 49ers. But let's flip over to the North Carolina Tar Heels. Last game, they took a loss to TCU 48-14. They're being brought in by brand new head coach Bill Belichick, brand new to college this season. In the last game, they allowed 284 yards passing on 258 yards rushing, had 1 pick six, and gave up 2 sacks in the game. Stat leaders and also leaders for the game against TCU, passing with 103 yards, 9 of 11, 1 touchdown, quarterback Max Johnson, 6'5", 225 pounds. He is, quote unquote, the backup right now. There's a little bit of a conversation coming into this game about that quarterback position and who we could see at quarterback. We will see. The rushing leader with 31 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown, Caleb Hood, the super senior, if you will, 6 foot, 220 pound back there. The receiving leader with 84 yards on 4 receptions is Jordan Shipp. He is a 6'2", 190-pound receiver. No sacks were recorded for North Carolina in the TCU game. Had a couple of close calls, but couldn't get there, couldn't bring down Josh Hoover. But there is a tackles leader, and with 11 tackles is the linebacker, and I won't say his name wrong, Andrew Simpson, who is a 6 foot, 238-pound backer. Alan, this game is a game in which both teams are coming in trying to find rhythm in general. Both defenses were on the field a lot as their offenses just struggled mightily against their opponents. Alan, what's your opening expectations of this game? What's your thoughts going into it? And what do you expect out of North Carolina in this game?
Both of these teams are coming in with more questions than answers, I think, for both of their teams. I'm not going to speak for Charlotte. I don't think that's the competitive result they was hoping for coming out of that game in Bank of America Stadium. And I'm 100% certain that it's absolutely not what Bill Belichick and UNC wanted coming out of Monday night against TCU. I look to see, all you hear about with Bill Belichick and coming out of camp is toughness, physicality, fundamentals, and that's basically the 3 things that, outside of maybe the first drive for both offense and defense, they lacked all 3 of those things for the rest of the game, pretty much. There was maybe plays where it worked out successfully, but then just as a whole, there was no physicality at the line of scrimmage on either side of the line of scrimmage. There was no fundamentals when you missed 19 tackles. There was no toughness, physicality, either side of the ball. So North Carolina wise, I'm looking to see if North Carolina can actually, bring physicality and toughness. And it's easy to say, yeah, North Carolina improved in the physicality aspect, especially given their size and strength versus maybe that of a lesser college. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Seeing if they can make miss less tackles and be more physical at the line at the point of attack.
That's a good point, and I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that is going to be something that they really need to work on heavily coming in to this game. We've talked about it. I mean, you kind of talked about it off air about this, about there not being any pricey eights and a bunch of guys rotating in and out. I know Melcart currently right now, there's not an official depth chart for North Carolina. There's an unofficial depth chart that does have Melcart listed out there as well. We got to see him get some run at time. I thought he did some good stuff over there. Also, number 8, Makai Gabor, or Bear, I think is the linebacker, the one who came from
The G
Nebraska.
is silent, just like lasagna.
There you go. So, with Bayer there, I thought they did a good job of setting the edge at times against TCU, and I'll be curious to see how they do in this game. 404 passing yards allowed for UNCC is something that I am glad to see, and for one reason, for on North Carolina's sake, North Carolina needs to establish the passing game. Last game, we saw the diversity in play calling in that first drive, and then it just completely shut out after that. It was run, run, run. That's all they wanted to do. And Freddie Kitchens, with having put his offense in so many bad positions by running the ball, clearly not even disguising the run, it was running straight power, putting tackles at tight end positions and saying, hey, TCU, we are going to run the football now. Come meet us here. They've got to do some stuff to mix up and disguise what they're going to do on offense and be willing to throw the ball and trust the quarterback, which I'm curious to see what he does, especially if Gio is to play. I know the conversation right now is Gio going to play based off of his injury that he got hurt in the game against TCU, had that hip injury. If you think Gio is legitimately the guy, then you have to play him in this game because you've got to get continuity on this team. And this team next week against Richmond and the week after that against UCF, you need to be building your continuity. That way you don't have a repeat when Clemson comes to town in week 6. So I'll be curious to see play calling wise how North Carolina calls this game. This, in my opinion, this is not a game in which you just want to play super conservatively because you think, oh, talent should, outmatch anything. I think we can, tell, talent for North Carolina is probably a little bit better than Charlotte, to say the least. Talent should win out, absolutely. But you got to figure out who you are as a team, and you're only going to do that if you start running some plays and getting some continuity against, with some live bullets, if you will. And this is a good team to be able to do this against. Now, here's the thing: we have talent, yes, we do, but Carolina can't sleep this game. Charlotte is bringing in, I think, an extra 1,500 to 3,000 seats, temporary seating just for this game. They're bringing in Chris Lane to do a concert. They're going to have a great time with this, man. They are going to enjoy this moment, and they're going to be up. They're going to be excited. I watched North Carolina win by 18 last year, and the Charlotte 49er fans were loud from the start of the game to the end of the game. As a matter of fact, they were even louder than the North Carolina fans were at times. And they didn't really show up like crazy out there either. They were just loud. This is going to be a Hornets. This is 7 p.m. We're back in prime time once again this week. Carolina has to come out ready to play a football game.
Yeah, I mean you got the primetime slot at 7, but you went from ESPN to ESPN Plus. So I mean you got downgraded versus for the station wise. Then Charlotte's really going to have a chance to get hydrated. So their student section will probably be rowdy. coming into
Oh
this
yeah,
game.
for sure, dude.
Um,
They're gonna go nuts.
but yeah, no, to me this game's all about North Carolina. You got to figure North Carolina has to figure out what they want to do, how they want to do it. Um, you can't just bring in 6, 7 offensive linemen and run the ball. Um, maybe you can against Charlotte, probably can against Richmond, but if you bring in 6 offensive linemen against Clemson, heck, if you bring in 6 offensive linemen against Cal, you're it that's just not how they're going to be successful playing football. I mean, North Carolina's offensive line is not good enough just to blow people off the line. They're just not. Even when Austin Blasky gets back from the injury, there's going to have to be some diversity in the play calling. Whoever's at quarterback, and if it is Gio at quarterback, and you gotta when you came in here, you heard he was a dual threat. It's dual threat quarterback. He can run, he can pass. Well, where was the QB design runs? Where were all these QB rollouts? Maybe there was a few times where he had the ability to escape the pocket, then decided to hang on to it to try to make the play downfield. That could be his decision making. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't think Bill Belichick brought in Gio Lopez to seem for 3/4 or 2.5 quarters, and then just be like, yeah, this isn't this. He isn't the guy. If he's healthy, I would expect him to start. I would expect him to play. That's nothing against Max Johnson. Bill Belichick named him a starter out of camp. He's probably going to be, and barring injury where he just can't, he's not 100% healthy and can't go. You know, I think Gio will get the nod because that's who Bill Belichick chose coming out of camp. Now, if Gio Lopez has seemingly the same struggles against Charlotte and or Richmond, then Bill Belichick might be willing to pull the string for say UCF and get Max Johnson the reps, the start or the nod for UCF, because you don't want Clemson to be the first full game, full start Max Johnson has to walk into as the starter. You want him to be able to get into a lather, get with game reps and game speed, live bullets, people trying to hit you before you walk into that Clemson defense.
Absolutely. This is going to be to me the next 3 weeks, and starting with this game right here is going to be. It's going to play a pivotal role in what you do the rest of the season. How this team comes together, how they gel is going to determine a lot of things. Because once you get through these next 3 weeks, it's ACC time, and not only it's ACC time, you're starting off with the kings of the ACC. You're starting out with Dabo and Clemson. You get a bye week, you can get healthy, and then it's on to the Clemson Tigers, who also have the same bye week as you as well. So they get a week of rest before you as well. And they're going to want to prove a point. The ACC, I saw a quote the other day, it may have been yesterday, as a matter of fact, that a unnamed ACC coordinator spoke about how multiple people in the ACC want to destroy this team because they want to prove a point. Like, hey, this is our league. This isn't your league. You did good over there. Congratulations, go you. This is our league now, and you're stepping into our realm. So every team, and we already somewhat knew this, but here you're starting to hear it more from inside that every team's going to get up for you. The Charlotte 49ers aren't bringing in Chris Lane to host a big concert and adding 1,500 to 3,000 seats to play against Georgia Tech. They're not doing that. They're doing it against Bill Belichick. It's North Carolina. It's Bill Belichick, and it's going to be a wild atmosphere. And Carolina's got to treat this game. Teams are already smelling blood in the water. They're like, oh, they look that bad. Here's some things that we can do. Let's see what TCU did. Look what they did so well. Let's attack those areas. So you're going to get attacked, and you're going to attack quick by this Charlotte team. And I'm curious to see how Connor Harrell plays. Connor Harrell, we know, is a dual threat guy. This guy can run. His guy can get out of the pocket. He's quick. He's got some fumbling issues, which we'll see how that goes. And he's also got some interception issues. And you don't want Connor to get comfortable. You can't allow him to get comfortable, because if he does, then he could end up hurting you if he gets comfortable. So defensive line has really got to step up in this game. They've really got to get after it. The backers, whom I think did a really good job last week, Andrew Simpson, Kamari House, Bear as well. They did such a good job, in my opinion, last week. Very, very, very few times you looked at him and say, oh, man, I wish that Simpson would have made the play, or Kamari House would have made the play. Kamari House was probably single-handedly responsible that Caleb Cost got that interception against TCU. Andrew Simpson, 11 tackles on the night for him. It's time to see, number one, can you set the edge? Can you rush the passer? Because I expect some very quick throws from this Charlotte team to try and do the same thing that TCU did. Eliminate that pass rush. And cause Carolina and the back seven to have to work. And it wouldn't surprise me if they line up a guy like Sean Brown or Justin Olsen on Marcus Allen's side purposely, consistently throughout the game because of how bad Marcus Allen plays. This game for Marcus Allen, and I'll let you expand on this, to me is extremely pivotal to him and his playing time this year.
Yeah, I think it's pivotal from a confidence standpoint. Playing time, maybe. I'm not sure talent-wise who you got that you're going to say Marcus Allen, you're going to sit down. Because Marcus Allen has the talent. Now, whether it showed on the field against TCU, that's a different story. But I don't think that North Carolina has just as talented Marcus Allen on the bench, or you probably would have saw more of that individual than you did against TCU. I know Khalil Conley got some run against Dwyer, and Khalil Conley got beat a couple times. Was getting beat just as handily against Dwyer. I will be interested to see if they still run that 3-3-5 defense that they were running against TCU. That was an interesting concept. 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, primarily. Either Melcart or Bayor. Being that edge rusher defender type thing, instead of having like 4 true hands in the dirt linemen. Then
right.
So that'll be interesting. Especially, it was curious when they did that, especially in the second half when TCU was making it a point to run the ball. It's a lot easier to run on a 3-3-5 than it is a 4-2-5 or a 4-3-4, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A little you bring your bigger bodies in when you want to run the ball. I mean, that is kind of like what everybody not Mac Brown for when it's 4th and 2 or 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. You're in nickel or you're in dime. You got 3 of your smaller linemen, then an edge rusher, or an outside linebacker, then 5 defensive backs, 2 safeties, 3 corners, whatever. And then they got big personnel, and you're just essentially getting blown off the ball. There wasn't adjustments like that made, and there typically wasn't adjustments made like that against TCU either, especially when there's pretty much just running the ball. If I was Charlotte, I would just run the ball. I would go heavy. If North Carolina's going to sit in that 3-3-5 like type defense, I just bring in some big personnel. I just run it and make UNC stop me. If UNC can't stop Charlotte from running the ball, just run it. And that's what I would do if I was UNC Charlotte. Just run the ball until they stopped it. That'd be my game plan. Run first, pass second, especially if UNC can't stop it.
Yeah, for Charlotte, they want to get continuity as well, but they want to go win this ball game. This ball game means a lot to them, and they want to do whatever they can to go win the game. North Carolina obviously wants to go win the game. They're going to do whatever it takes to win this game. But on a talent perspective, it also should be about winning the game, but also building the chemistry for what this team's ultimately going to be. and starting to get that and righting the wrongs from TCU, because TCU exposed you. And Belichick and the staff, they mentioned that, dude. They mentioned that, how they got exposed and exposed fast. And that was just the deal. And I liked how blunt Belichick was about it. And I'll be very excited to see the new wrinkles that they're going to throw in, the adjustments that they're going to make. And if we don't see very many, then there may be some serious questions about coming out of this game. So I'm looking forward to it, Alan. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm going to let you lead us off with score predictions. What do you think this game is going to ultimately be?
That's a good question, because I don't know what North Carolina is. I mean, it's Freddie Kitchens going to be the run on first down, get a yard, run on second down, get a yard, run on third down, and punt the ball? Or is he going to, or is it going to be more like that first drive? Is there going to be some diversity?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I heard Pacor only played 8 snaps. Now, I don't know if that was because Javari Green was getting the majority of his snaps at that slot position. But, I mean, that's interesting. There was only Lopez was 2 for 6. Is that right?
I think he ultimately ended up 4 for 10.
4 for 10. He threw 10 passes in 2.5 quarters. Now, granted, North Carolina only run 24 plays in the first half, but only 2 of those were passes, or 6 of those were passes. Yeah, 6. There's just got to be some diversity, and you can't go 3 and out for 3 straight drives, and the offense give up 14 points. It's just an all around bad performance. Nobody. The only person that might have come out and be like, "Hey, I played pretty good," might have been Thaddeus Dixon. He might have been the only one on that entire football team that was pleased with how he performed. But even saying that, he's probably not pleased because they didn't win the game. So, this game is a bounce back, a get right game. That's why this game's here. That's why this game is, the majority of the time a game like this is week 1. It helps your team get ready for the bigger teams. But sometimes it's not how the schedule works out. Sometimes it's a power 4 team, and you just got to go out and handle your business. And North Carolina wasn't able to handle that. I'm gonna say North Carolina wins. This is probably really stupid because it's probably not even going to be close. But 35-17.
Oh boy, we are super close. Man, we are super, super close. Yeah, I expect North Carolina to come out here and I'm gonna say, with the pressure that is on this team after seeing how they played offensively, I think Freddie Kitchens is gonna open this thing up some. I think he has no choice. You could run the ball like crazy all you want to. That's all good and grand, but you're sitting on something. Gio Lopez was given the nickname Magic Johnson in practice by Jordan Shipp and Chris Culliver and some of these other receivers for a reason. And that reason is something that we have not saw on the field yet. And it's time to really start throwing this out there. So I think they are going to start throwing the ball some. And I think that we're going to start to see some diversity in the play calling. But I do expect North Carolina to win this game, and I expect them to win 34-14. North Carolina knocking off the Charlotte 49ers. I think it's going to be a good game. Could I see it? Do I hope it's a bigger blowout? Yes. Because if it's a bigger blowout, then that means offense got loose. And the offense started throwing the ball around. Now, the question would be, can they keep it going? And that's going to be the question no matter what, if they're able to get rolling. So the hope is that they get rolling. I think they do. And I think this game ends up being 34-14. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments below about this team. Do you think that North Carolina is going to go out there and get the win? Do you think the play calling is going to be a little bit different? Do you expect Charlotte to come out there and play a heavy game? And do they have a chance of winning? Let us know down in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to tune into the live watch party starting at, I think I set it for 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. On Saturday night. It's going to be a good time. It won't be as grandiose as the last one was, but it's still going to be a fun time nevertheless. We're going to be sitting here chilling out and having ourselves a good time as Carolina plays the 49ers. Hope to see you guys there. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as
check
always,
us out on Facebook.
Check us out. Yes, I think we're like 10 away from getting to where we can start live streaming all of our stuff over to Facebook as well. Be sure and go do that right now. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that's went over there and that's done that. We really appreciate you guys. We're like 10 away, I believe, from getting it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always,
Go Heels.